Councilman Kendrick, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, Mayor. I can hear you.
Good afternoon. It's it's 1 o'clock. The meeting is now called to order. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem.
Madam Mayor, I move to approve the agenda as printed.
Councilmember Alvarez.
Mayor, I'll second that motion.
All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. You up, Councilman Kendrick, is that a yes? Okay,
Yes.
thank you. 6-0, let the record show Councilwoman Cobb is not present. We will have citizen comments. The first person is Ricky Williams. You will have 3 minutes. Good afternoon, sir. Well, you were the last one to turn it in, so. Yes, sir, it just automatically on the top.
Mix that up next time.
Yes, sir.
Well, good afternoon, Council and Mayor. Today we have the opportunity to do collectively between your citizens and yourself something that will benefit the citizens. By moving these elections to November, it gives an opportunity to graft on higher elections, which allows for greater turnout, greater citizen participation. As elected officials, you would want to feel that you have a mandate. That mandate is given to you by increasing the number of citizens that actually have the opportunity to come out and cast their ballot. There are some issues we know that surround this in making this change that need to be addressed, whether it's extending at the back end of this, for example. I would say that it is appropriate to pass the resolution with implementation to come, meaning not to focus on changing the upcoming election in May, since we are already at that cycle. That should go on. And then after that, in future elections down the road, we understand that, potentially there may be someone who has to be extended in order to get this thing to align properly. So if that is an option, that is the option that I would, as a citizen, feel comfortable with having put in place. That is all.
Thank you. Miss or Mrs. Frost, good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor and esteemed council members. My name is Otetiani, which is Cherokee for Master Orator, so I'm quite honored to live out my name here. I have, one moment, please. God dog it. Oh, I'm good. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to speak on the value of a uniform election date. I've been on the earth over 6 decades, traveling extensively and never calling any place home. I've lived in Killeen 7 of those 60-some years, and I call Killeen home. The spirit and diversity of Killeen and Bell County is engaging, so much so that I exercised my right to vote. I cast my ballot. I participated in this most coveted of human rights. For the first time, I let my voice be heard by voting. I am in support of any and everything that can streamline the process. Let's make it less tedious for the public, new voters, and future voters to anticipate elections and participate in elections by establishing a uniform election date. Thank you and happy holidays.
Thank you. Mrs. Wright. Good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and council members.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Kristen Wright, and I am a resident of Killeen and the founder and executive director of Killeen Creators, serving many of Killeen's most disenfranchised residents. I come here today on their behalf, strongly supporting HB 1494 to move local elections to coincide with November general elections. I'd like to share 3 reasons why this change will benefit Killeen: cost efficiency, increased voter access, and more equitable representation. First, moving our local elections to November will save significant taxpayer dollars. Each standalone election requires polling places, equipment, staff, ballots, and related costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars, that could be redirected to much-needed city services, infrastructure, and community programs. Consolidating elections reduces duplication and streamlines administration, something we all always say we want, so let's do it. Second, adding the November general election meaningfully increases access to voting, our most fundamental right in this country, especially for those disenfranchised today. People who are elderly, living with disabilities, or working multiple jobs to make ends meet. Statistics are very clear. They vote more in statewide elections that are highly publicized than in local elections off-cycle. And that leads to the issue of turnout and representation. Across Texas, local standalone elections have extraordinarily low participation. Bell County in general and Killeen in particular lead those statistics in low turnout in local elections. We have had elections in recent years since I moved here in 2018 without a full percentage of our population voting. That means a tiny fraction of our community who are fairly handpicked and communicated with are electing our representatives. By contrast, a November election has well over, even in the state, 55% of the population votes. And locally, I am sorry, I hope a later person has the exact statistic. I have a feeling someone will, but what Killeen's was, but I know it has been low, and it's much higher in November. These are dramatically different levels of engagement. When only a small minority of people are making decisions on our local leadership, it underrepresents the people of Killeen. I'm most concerned for those that I serve, that I know have a very hard time getting downtown. Can I have 1 more minute to finish?
Councilmember Alvarez?
I'm almost done.
Councilmember Solomon? Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Madam Secretary?
I also want to address what I have heard, that this challenge somehow extends terms of current council members and that that's for political advantage. Respectfully, I do not believe that is the intent of the legislation or us hearing about this and weighing in on Killeen's choice in regard to the statewide legislation. It is a statewide policy decision, not one that this council initiated. It has been part of a broader strategic conversation, locally and statewide, on behalf of democracy and our least engaged citizens. This is our opportunity to act on that longstanding goal. And this reform is bigger than any single council person, respectfully, or this particular slate, or how it would affect an implementation any single person's career. This is our process of democracy and doing it right. And this is our opportunity to do so. So I urge you to support HB 1494 to help ensure that Killeen's elections are accessible, cost-efficient,
Ma'am,
and truly
thank you.
representative.
Your time
Thank
is-
you.
Thank you. Mr. Gukaisen, good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor.
Good afternoon,
Mayor Pro
sir.
Temp, council members, city manager, and fellow attendees. A quote from Abraham Lincoln, "Elections belong to the people. It's their decision." My statement today is not against moving the election from May to November, excuse me, May to November, but the alternatives that are listed in the briefing that will be given later on. A lot of questions came up, why this meeting was taking place at this time at the 11th hour when this item was passed back in June of this year. Our individual that we paid over $100,000 to, when he stood up here after the session, legislative session that is, I don't recall him mentioning this to the public, that this was going to be happening. This item is not a mandatory thing. It's optional. It states in the law, it's optional. We don't have to do it. I do think the points that have been brought up so far about saving taxpayers' money is a good idea to move the election. But it's the process of what action this body will take. Option 3 of the upcoming presentation seems, in my opinion, to be a very good option. Extending the terms of the council members that would be affected by moving this does not really seem to be a democratic way of doing it. This body in the past has denied the right of petition from the citizens of their local government. This body in the past has restricted the free speech by denying them to speak on non-agenda items. Furthermore, this body has also taken the time in which the residents can address you from 4 to 3 minutes, restricting what they can really talk on. By the option, I think it's option number 2, you're taking away their right. These particular council people were elected for a 2-year term. They'll be classified as a holdover if you elect to take option number 2. I know the election code does allow this body to supersede the city charter regarding this matter, but it seems to be very hypocritical of this body to use this as an excuse when on numerous occasions this body has used the city charter as a shield. I hope that this body will agree to move the election day.
Your time is
May I
up.
get one more minute just to finish?
Councilmember Alvarez. Councilwoman Cobb, let the record show Councilwoman Cobb is present. Councilmember Solomon. Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember, Madam Secretary, 1 minute.
As I was saying, in the end, if I do hope that this body does make a motion or a resolution to move the election day to November. But when you do so, please, I would recommend strongly that option number 3 is the one you choose, because this does allow the current election cycle to continue and changes to be made that will allow the citizens to get a better understanding of why the date has been moved to November and when it will actually go into effect. Last thing, there's a quote by a German pastor, Martin Niemöller, excuse me. It's titled, "No one left to speak for me." It's a very good quote. If you have time, you might Google it and read it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ms. Byrd, good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Greetings to the Killeen City Council. My name is Brandy L.L. Byrd. I have come here today before your presence to ask for the consideration to approve the moving of elections to November after the May 2026 elections have been completed. My biggest motivator for being active in the community is to bring positive change to a city that is truly beautiful despite the negative things said in the media. Positive change is having a people that is thriving in a community that is pleasing to the eyes and generally safe. Positive change takes place when people's voices are heard and seriously considered. Having people participate in government through various means, but most importantly by voting, is the way to have a robust, thriving community. May elections usually consist of the City of Killeen, Killeen Independent School District, Central Texas College, and it may also have bonds and/or referendums. The election directly affects the population and mass turnout is needed. The number of votes cast in the May 2025 election was 3,994 votes out of a population estimated to be 160,616 people at the end of 2024. When you do the math, that is approximately 1.92% of the population. That's pretty horrific. We want max participation, and that is where the November elections come into play. The general consensus in the public's view is that November is the only time voting happens, which others that are more civically engaged know this is far from the truth. It's just a higher voter turnout in November due to people always thinking about the presidential elections. If we can get it embedded in people's minds that voting for the local elections happens in November, we can have a higher voter turnout. When you look at the budget, it was roughly about $47,595 that the city budgeted for elections. Now, I don't know about anybody else. The last time I went into a supermarket, a pack of hamburger meat for 2.25 pounds was $14.99. I'm a taxpayer. I know you guys are taxpayers, and I want my money to go far and wide, and I'm sure the consensus for the public is the same. We want November elections because we want a thriving community. We want mass participation. We want a high voter turnout, and the only way I know for our money to go far and for government to be great is to have everybody's voices heard. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Bracy, good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor, City Council.
Good afternoon.
Everybody that's come up here has spoken in favor of young people. The people that vote here, 45% of them are seniors. They do not even understand the city ballot. They will not know who these congressional people are. And I just hope that you will keep it as it is, because they are the people that vote. Young people do not vote. And you need to take all that into consideration when you make your decision tonight, because this country, this city, rides on people my age. And I expect the best from every one of you on that council to make the correct decision in favor of our senior citizens.
Thank you. Cameron Cochran, you have 3 minutes. Good afternoon.
Get organized here. I know you hate that. Sorry, I'll put it back. City council members, do you recall the swearing-in ceremony where you took an oath of office and a pledge? It's something like this. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the city council for the city of Killeen and the state of Texas, so help me God. Based on time constraints, let me give an overview of something that no one's speaking of and may be noticed. The City of Killeen Charter, Article 9, Nominations for Elections, Section 94. The council shall make all regulations which it consists needful or desirable, not inconsistent with this charter or the laws for the state of Texas. Section 149, amending the City of the Killeen Charter. Amendments to this charter may be framed and submitted to qualified electors of the city by the Charter Commission in a manner provided by law for framing and submitting a new charter. Tonight, we're discussing changing the charter, but we haven't even had the Charter Commission review it. Again, Section 149, submit to the qualified electors by the City Charter Commission in a manner provided by law framing and submitted if you're changing the charter. When a charter amendment petition shall be filed with the city, the council shall forthwith provide an ordinance for submitting such proposal amendment to a vote of qualified electors. Again, the council shall put forth, provide an ordinance for submitting the proposal of an amendment, which you're looking at today, to a vote of the qualified electors. Any ordinance for submitting to the charter amendment to a qualified electors shall be provided and such an amendment be submitted in the next authorized uniform election date. That would be May, not tonight. Basic English, the city, their own charter, they're ignoring it. They're not even following their own guidelines. Let the voters decide if people should stay in office 6 months or 18 months. Don't decide yourself. I want to point out the slides that you're looking at, you only have 4 options. The 5th option is not listed, should be creating a charter commission. Sadly, I guess someone in the city forgot to put number 5 there. Please do not ignore this amendment because it should be done in May. In my opinion, it's all about failed transparency and accountability. You, without properly amending the city charter, will once again ignore the will of the voters. You will be setting yourself up for another legal battle, which I guess you don't care. The city manager loves legal battles. How many more court lawsuits do you want or can afford? You're using taxpayer money that you don't care about. I want everyone to know there's no rush on this resolution. The city secretary, the city attorney, and the 3 city managers need to take the necessary steps, again, to follow the guidelines outlined in the current Killeen City Charter. Do an amendment to your guidelines without voting tonight. Let the voters of Killeen decide. Stop averting the will of the people and honor your oath in office. If you did create a city charter commission, what are their names? When did they meet? I'd like to know those dates. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Fernino, good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
That we are here today at this hour is an absolute insult to the citizens of Killeen that you keep claiming to serve. You ignored this item for a year, and it shows before our very eyes that you are clearly not up to the tasks before you and collectively demonstrate you're unfit for your positions. This applies especially to you, Mayor, for calling today's meeting at this time. Is there anybody here stupid enough to believe that the timing of this meeting was not specifically designed to restrict the amount of people who could show up? An issue as important as the fundamental right to vote, how we vote, when we vote, or quite possibly not being able to vote for almost 2 years. You pull this stunt, shame on you, Mayor. We throw away $100,000 of citizens' money on Stan Schluter every year to keep you up to date on things like this. He's a political has-been and never is for the city of Killeen. For what? Yet you praise him for his failure like you do the city manager. The city manager oversees staff. I'm reliably informed this item was pushed by staff. Here we are last minute. Does he escape responsibility again? Please, for the love of God, tell me what this man is responsible for. Remember when a city councilman resigned in shame? Resignation was sent to the city manager. He kept it a secret until the mayor asked about it. Anybody got to be held accountable for this late hour? Everyone on the other side of this lectern should just resign, go away. Are you that bad at your jobs to let something this important slip past you? This many levels of failure is unforgivable. No excuse. This is real life, real people, real consequences that cost real money and real rights. Let's define irony. A council entirely made up of minorities that is seriously considering an option that will deny minorities and everybody else the right to vote for nearly 2 years. Call me anything you want, but you can't call me wrong on that one. Vote to do nothing on this item. It's what you're best at anyway. There's no reason to consider even denying the vote for nearly 2 years. Nothing justifies it. We're only here today due to a dereliction and collective continued failure. No kings? How about no Queen Debbie Nash King? Speakers have said November elections. That'd be an off year. It's not going to coincide with a general or a gubernatorial election. So it's not going to have any noticeable effect. You don't publicize the elections. Low voter turnout is, in large part, your responsibility and your fault. We have 8 days of voting, early voting. It's not like we deny people the chance if they don't come out. That is due to lack of any advertisement or that we are having an election. I would request in advance an extra minute because this is important and it goes to the structure. When it comes to this, 8 days of early voting,
Your time is up. Councilmember Alvarez? Councilwoman Cobb? Councilmember Solomon?
Yes.
Yes. You have 1 minute, Madam Secretary.
Thank you. So when it comes to this, I mean, where the disenfranchisement, no, that's lack of participation. It is on the fault of the citizen, but the city does not advertise that we're having an election. I've talked to folks that up or down, whether they support or don't support you. Time and again, oh, I vote for the mayor and council every November. They think that they're voting, they don't know what's going on. Again, the figures that were produced are nothing that I haven't in previous years brought up about the low participation. It's less than 3%. So that is on them and it is on you. I'm not saying who to support and who not to, but let people know that they're having elections. Let them know when they can exercise the right to vote. I agree with the first speaker that there is no provision that you would have any extensions whatsoever, but I don't trust the fact that you'll fix it later.
Thank you. Next person, Mr. Wickerson. You have 3 minutes. Mr. Ernest Wickerson, you didn't sign up, so it's Mr. Ken Wickerson. After we start the citizen comments, take citizen comments after we start. Excuse me one, sir. Madam City Attorney, Mr. Wickerson, the other Wickerson, Ernest, is submitting his citizen comment after we have started. Can I receive that?
The governing standards say that it should be presented before the meeting previous, but it is up to you,
Okay.
the council.
Well, we are going to follow that. All right. Sir, I apologize. When he said that, I was just clarifying. Good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon. Members of the Killeen City Council, neighbors, and fellow citizens, I stand before you to speak about a simple change with a powerful impact. Moving Killeen City elections from May to the first Tuesday in November. This is not about party politics. It's about participation, representation, and whether our local government truly reflects the people it serves. Killeen is a city of more than 160,000 people. Yet in some May elections, entire districts have been decided by fewer than 200 votes. That reality should give all of us pause. When so few voices determine leadership for so many, confidence in local government erodes. By contrast, November elections consistently produce dramatically higher turnout. In November 2020, turnout surged nationwide, including here in Texas, as voters engaged in performing their civic duty at historic levels. While COVID-era circumstances played a role, the larger truth remains. November elections are familiar, expected, and already built into voters' habits. People plan for them. They know when they are. They show up. Holding elections in May creates barriers that disproportionately reduce participation. Voters are less open and community engagement is lower. These structural conditions do not reflect apathy. They reflect timing. When elections are held at times when fewer people are prepared or able to vote, outcomes skew toward a narrow slice of the population. That dynamic benefits incumbency and discourages new voters or voices, younger voters, working families, and military households, groups that define Killeen. Low turnout elections do not strengthen local democracy. They quietly limit it. Killeen would not be leading blindly. Dallas and San Antonio, two of the largest cities in Texas, have already passed legislations to move their city elections to November. Their leaders recognized that aligning local elections with higher turnout dates creates broader representation and stronger mandates for those elected. In November, If November works for cities with millions of residents, it can work for Killeen. Changing the election date is not a radical idea. Can I ask for 1 minute now? Okay, got you.
Once
Changing
your
the
time
election.
is up, sir.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
apologize.
Changing the election date is not a radical idea. It is a practical one. It costs less. May I have 1 minute?
Councilmember Alvarez. Councilwoman Cobb. Councilmember Solomon.
Yes.
Mayor Pro, Madam Secretary.
It's a practical one. It costs less, reaches more voters, and ensures that those who govern this city do so with a mandate that reflects its true size and diversity. Killeen deserves elections where participation is the norm, not the exception. Moving city elections to the first Tuesday in November is a clear step towards that goal. Thank you for your time and your commitment to the people of Killeen.
Thank you. Mr. Faulkner. Good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon,
My name is
sir.
Dennis Faulkner. I'm a precinct committeeman for 215 that represents both Harker Heights and a portion of Killeen. I also represent the West Side Conservative Coalition and appreciate the opportunity to be able to speak on this matter
Yes, sir.
for this afternoon. I think we have a rare opportunity, and from the folks I've heard speak, and I suspect for those who will follow me, there seems to be a lot of agreement here. And I would also support the move to November elections. I do think that we need to exercise a bit more time to allow that to come in a more deliberate way. I think there's several reasons to do that. One, communicating to voters that this is going to happen, that hopefully will encourage them to come out. Realizing that in an odd year, it's been stated, you won't have nearly as much turnout as we think in an odd year. Even in November, it still will be lower. It'll probably be about double than what we get normally in municipals, but it's certainly not going to equate to a gubernatorial timeframe or for a presidential election. It will still be fairly low. I think it's also important we realize there are other entities that need to come alongside you for this to have best effect, right? KISD, the CTC, other entities that typically this municipality will partner with for their elections are going to need to move as well. There is partner legislation out there in addition to SB 1494 that would allow for them to move as well. But again, there needs to be time to be able to partner with those entities, which I think most folks would agree would be the best move. So I do support moving to November. I would ask that you consider to try to have the impact be minimal and stay within the city's charter as best you can. While SB 1494 certainly allows for an extension of terms, I don't think anybody really desires to see that. And so I would hope that the council would consider that in making your decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Louis Minor. Good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, City Council. I'm a Killeen resident and a Killeen voter, and I support moving the elections to November. And I'm coming at this through the voter experience. You know, this last election, the municipal election that we had, I got phone calls because we had a paper poll book. You know, the county utilizes electronic poll books. Whenever they come in, it's easy for them to, you know, find people and check them in and then print off their ballots. We didn't have that with the city of Killeen. So I don't want to confuse our voters. We've talked about the elections. Just this last November, we had in Killeen-specific precincts, 8,501 voters turn out. In this last May election, we had 3,095 voters participate in that. Also moving the elections where the county is responsible for that election, we'll have countywide voting, countywide polling. So if a Killeen resident is living or working in Temple and they want to go vote in the city election, if it's in a November election and the county is responsible for it, they'll be able to vote over there. So I think that's another added benefit that we're not thinking about here. Anything that we could do to increase voter participation, I'm going to support. And I think this is a win-win for the citizens, win-win for the county and the city. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Davison, good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor. Good seeing you again.
Yes, sir.
It's been a while.
Yes, have.
You all look well today. Merry Christmas to those of you that will accept that, and happy holidays to the others.
Yes, sir.
I'm a little perplexed by this. I have a business here. I'm proud to be and part of Killeen. It's important to me. What I'm not so proud of is left-handed politics. I'm not sure if that's what this is, but it kind of feels like it. And if it feels that way, I just want to express it. My opinion, for as all of it counts, is that we should not change anything now, that it should be up to the voters to change our election dates. That's all I got to say. Common sense should prevail. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
And somebody else can have the rest of my minutes?
Mr. Blair, good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Get up there in 3 minutes.
Take your time, sir.
I am not sure that it matters much if we move the election from May to November. There should be a reason for it, however. The 2 good reasons, maybe good reasons, that I've heard today or read in the paper are A, we will save some portion of $140,000 on the May election. Whether that is significant or not, for you guys to decide. It's what we elected you for. The other one is that voters aren't very good at their jobs, they're not very smart, and they just don't care. I can't see how moving the date is going to improve that situation. Okay. Now, it's an unfortunate truism that people who can make a change are likely to take advantage of that change. If you don't want that besmirchment on your record, if you don't want that mark on your face, then I think your only option today is to vote to have the May election. And then if you decide to move it to November, God go with you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Hama, ma'am, Solange, if I mispronounced that, I apologize. Good afternoon, ma'am. You have 3 minutes.
You said it exactly right.
Oh, thank you.
Good afternoon, Mayor Nash King and Killeen City Council members. My name is Solange Hummel, and I am proud to call Killeen my home. First, I want to thank you all for calling this special meeting to consider Killeen's options for moving municipal elections to November. Community members have been requesting this change for more than a decade. Although SB 1494 was passed back in May, with the support of both Representative Buckley and Senator Flores, I understand that this opportunity was only brought to your attention very recently. Thank you for taking the time from the holiday season to do the work of the city. I'm here today asking you to approve moving Killeen's municipal elections to odd-numbered years, as allowed by SB 1494. Conducting municipal elections in November, alongside constitutional amendment elections, will benefit our community in several ways. Consolidating 2 elections into 1 reduces the annual cost of elections, as well as making it easier to secure the people, locations, and other resources necessary to conduct safe and fair elections in Bell County. Most importantly, combining constitutional and municipal elections in November helps increase voter turnout by having multiple reasons for people to show up to the polls. Additionally, having one predictable election time will make voter education efforts more effective And voters who have to take time off work or arrange for sitters or transportation will have an easier time participating in the democratic process. I know there are those who are concerned about the ramifications of changing how we do things, but we cannot have improvement without change. I ask that you vote to approve moving municipal elections to odd-numbered years, beginning in either 2027 or 2029. Either of those timelines would preserve the integrity of elections previously conducted and allow both the city and the county to make necessary adjustments. Unfortunately, SB 1494 does not allow for the ideal solution, which would be to conduct municipal elections every November. I have several questions for my state legislators about that. It does, however, provide Killeen with an opportunity to make a big step towards streamlining its election process and making voting more accessible to all Killeen voters, regardless of party. It has been 10 years since state legislators allowed Texas cities the opportunity to make changes to the timing of local elections. If Killeen does not take advantage of this moment, it may be another 10 years or more before the state decides to extend this opportunity for local control again. I urge you to approve this change before the December 31st deadline. Thank you for your time, and happy holidays.
Thank you. Mrs. Broker? Mrs.? What? No, it's not. It's not her name. Good afternoon, ma'am. You had 3 minutes, and I apologize. Could you
No
pronounce your
worries.
name?
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Mayor-
could you pronounce your name, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ray Broker.
Ray Broker.
Ray
Okay.
Broker,
All right,
Amelia.
thank you, thank you.
Mayor and council members, thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Amelia Ray Broker. I live in Bell County with the Killeen mailing address. I'm here to express my support for the City of Killeen adopting the resolution under SB 1494. At its core, this issue is about participation, representation, and good governance. May elections consistently produce low voter turnout. This affects the voices of working families, military families, young voters, seniors, shift workers, often leaving them out of decision-making process. When elections are held in November, turnout is higher and the results better reflect the full community we serve. This change is important for military families. November elections better align with federal voting timelines, reduce conflicts with spring training and deployment cycles, common in May, and make it easier for service members and their families to reliably receive and return their ballots. It's also important to note that November odd-number year elections are not empty ballots. Texans already vote during these elections for things like state constitutional amendments, as well as local propositions, bond measures, and special district elections. Voters are already showing up in November odd years to make important decisions that affect their communities. Aligning city elections with November uniform election dates reduces barriers for voting, improves transparency, and helps ensure city council members are elected by a broader, more representative electorate. It may reduce election administration costs, as mentioned before, by coordinating with county-run elections, which matters to taxpayers. Killeen is a large, diverse, growing city. Our election system should reflect that. I respectfully urge the council to adopt SB 1494 resolution and take this important step to strengthen civic engagement and local democracy in Killeen. Thank you for your time and your service to our community, and happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Thank you. Mrs. Wheelbanks, good afternoon. You have 4 minutes. 3 minutes. I apologize.
Good afternoon,
Good
Council.
afternoon.
I want to focus on one of the options before our City Council regarding Senate Bill 1494 and changing our election dates. Option number 2, moving all general elections to November in odd number years, electing the mayor and all council members at the same time by eliminating staggered terms. While higher turnout in November sounds appealing, and it does, this particular approach is a bad choice for Killeen, and here's why. First, it would extend the terms of the current mayor and at-large council members who were last elected in May 2024 and are up for re-election this coming May 26 by over 18 months. There's an unelected extension of a year and a half for leaders whose two-year terms voters approved. District council members would get a shorter 6-month holdover, creating uneven accountability. This isn't just a minor delay. It's a significant override of voter intent. Residents elected these officials expecting fresh accountability every 2 years through our staggered system. Extending terms this long without a vote raises serious questions of fairness and democratic representation. Second, eliminating staggered terms altogether removes a key safeguard in our charter. Staggering ensures continuity. Half the council turns over regularly, bringing new ideas while retaining experienced voices to guide the city through transitions. Going to all-at-once elections risks a complete council wipeout in one low turnout cycle, potentially leading to instability, loss of institutional knowledge, and sharper swings in policy, especially in a military-connected community like ours, and frequent population changes. Third, this option forces immediate and drastic change to hit the SB 1494 window when better paths exist, like option number 4, no change. Option number 3, delay in full alignment to 2029 for smoother transitions. Option number 1, for partial benefits without ending staggering. Rushing to unstagger now prioritizes deadline over thoughtful governance. We deserve higher turnout, yes, but not at the cost of extended terms, reduced continuity, and diminished voter trust. Option number 2 sacrifices too much for too little gain. I urge the council to reject it and choose a path that respects our charter, our voters, and stable leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Will Banks, good afternoon, sir. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Good afternoon, sir.
Today, I want to address the troubling implications of Senate Bill 1494, passed in the 2025 legislative session, and how it could fundamentally alter the way Killeen's elections are conducted. While there has been some confusion about the bill, let's be clear, SB 1494 does let our city move the general election from May to November, but not without significant drawbacks that threaten the integrity of our local democracy. SB 1494 amends the Texas Election Code, Section 41.0052, setting a December 31st deadline for the eligible local governments to opt into November elections in odd-numbered years. This is a way to boost turnout, but is also a blunt instrument, imposing a one-size-fits-all solution that ignores the complexities of Killeen's system. The bill's structure is best suited for cities with unstaggered 2-year terms or straightforward 4-year cycles, hardly the case in Killeen, where staggered 2-year terms are intentionally designed to promote continuity and accountability. The Texas Secretary of State notes that cities like ours with staggered elections face serious logistical hurdles. Rushing to align with the odd-year November cycle would mean awkward term extensions, disruptive changes to our election calendar, undermining the staggered accountability that voters rely on. Instead of smooth transitions, we're looking at forced holdovers and potentially unelected extensions of officials' terms, which flies in the face of the democratic principles. While the statute allows Killeen City Council to override our charter with a simple resolution, bypassing the usual process of public input and charter amendment, the shortcut comes at the expense of transparency and voter trust. Why should such a sweeping change, one that affects how and when every resident's voice is heard, be rammed through in a last-minute scramble? The fact that the council hasn't acted until now with the deadline looming suggests a lack of proper planning and a disregard for the participatory process our community deserves. At its core, this isn't just about changing the election date. It's about upending a system that was carefully crafted to balance stability and fresh leadership. The supposed benefits of higher turnout in November don't justify sacrificing staggered terms, continuity, and direct voter control over who represents us. Shouldn't the citizens of Killeen have been given a meaningful say before their local government considers such a drastic overhaul? So while SB 1494 technically lets us make this change, the real question isn't whether we can, it's whether we should. And if the process isn't guided by transparency, fairness, and respect for the will of the people, maybe the answer should be no, or at least let the residents decide first. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Michaela Gray, I'm sorry, ma'am, I'm sorry. Mikhail Gray.
Mikhail Gray, Mayor.
Yes, ma'am, I apologize. Good afternoon. You have 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, Mayor,
Good
Mayor
afternoon.
Pro Tem, and council members. My name is Mikhail Gray, and thank you for the opportunity to speak before you today. I rise in strong support of option number 2, the resolution to move Killeen's general elections to the November uniform election date in odd number years. This is not a procedural issue. This is not a convenience issue. This is a people issue. Texas law expressly authorizes cities like Killeen to make this change, recognizing the importance of aligning local elections with higher participation election cycles. The legislator understood something very important. Democracy works best when more people participate. As long as a longtime voter organizer and community advocate, I can tell you plainly, our current system creates unnecessary barriers. Multiple election dates, confusing calendars, and low visibility cycles suppress voter turnout. They don't empower voters, they exhaust them. November elections are when voters show up. They show up during November elections. November elections are when voters are informed. November elections are when participation is consistent, equitable, and representative. Some have suggested that allowing the possibility of multiple council seats changing at once could somehow be detrimental to the city's progress. Respectfully, that argument misunderstands democracy. Progress does not come from protecting seats. Progress comes from public trust. Progress comes from legitimacy. Progress comes from leaders who are elected by the broadest possible cross-section of the community. What is detrimental to progress is a system where turnout is low, voices are muted, and elections feel disconnected from everyday civic life. This resolution does several critical things to include increases voter turnout by aligning city elections with the most participatory election cycle, reduces voter confusion and fatigue, especially for working families, seniors, and first-time voters, centers the needs of the people, not the convenience of office holders, political ambitions, or administrative comfort. Let me be clear. This decision should not be about what is most convenient for council members who may be seeking higher office. It should not be about what is easier for staff. It should be about what is best for the residents of Killeen. This is a council of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Ma'am, your time is up.
May I please have an additional minute?
Councilwoman Cobb, Councilmember Solomon. Okay. Yes, ma'am, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members for this additional time.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
This is a council of the people, by the people, and for the people. And when we truly believe that, we choose systems that invite more people into the process, not fewer. Option 2 is the fair option. Option 2 is the transparent option. Option 2 is the democratic option. I urge this council to continue to lead boldly, to trust the voters of Killeen, and to adopt this resolution in favor of the November uniform election date. People first, community first, democracy first. Thank you, and thank you, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members for all that you do and for serving. And Merry Christmas, and have a happy, blessed New Year, Mayor.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Michael. That is the end of citizen comments. Madam Secretary, resolutions.
RS 25193. Consider a memorandum resolution changing the date of general elections to a November uniform election date in odd-numbered years.
Thank you, Attorney Clemmons.
Good afternoon, Mayor and City Council.
Good afternoon.
All right, a little bit of background on this item. Recent changes to the Texas Election Code would allow the City Council to pass a resolution to change the date of its general elections from the May uniform election date to a November uniform election date in odd-numbered years only, no later than December 31st, 2025. City charter allows for general elections to be held on either uniform election day, that would be May or November. And the city charter provides for staggered terms currently with the election of the mayor and at-large council members in even-numbered years and the election of district council members in odd-numbered years. This slide shows you a brief history of relevant dates. So in 2011, upon notice that the county would no longer provide election equipment, the City Council passed a resolution to maintain the May uniform election date. And then in 2013, the city charter was amended to allow elections to be held on any uniform election date, and that's why we have it now. It can be on any uniform election date, May or November. In 2016, City Council, though, did not take any action to change the uniform election date to November prior to the statutory deadline at that time of December 31st, 2016. In 2024, City Council removed changing election dates from its legislative priorities. And then in 2025, the bill that's already been discussed today, Senate Bill 1494, extended the deadline that was originally that December 31st, 2016 deadline, extended that to change to a uniform election date to December 31st, 2025, but then also limited the change to odd number years only. So the alternatives here that we have with that history and with the bill and the statute as it exists now, the first option. And first, before we get into the options, I do want to state that this bill was initially written for the city of Dallas. You can see that in the bill analysis that was attached to this item. The city of Dallas only holds elections in odd number years. And again, the bill only allows odd number years to be changed to November. And that, because of that, some of the implications for Killeen are a bit different than Dallas because we have the staggered even and odd number year elections, whereas Dallas only holds odd number year elections anyway. So we have a little bit different implications, and we'll go through that. Killeen has staggered terms, and again, that some of these options would change that. So the option one, this would keep even numbered year elections in May and change odd number years to November. Having elections at different times of the year from year to year may be confusing for voters and does not reduce the number of elections. Option two. Option two would eliminate elections in even number years and change all elections, the elections of the mayor and all council members to November in odd number years. Current council members would hold over according to constitutional provisions until the new election date. This would mean that at-large and mayor would not be elected in May 2026, would hold over until November 2027, and current district council members would also hold over an additional 6 months in 2027. So a couple notes on option two. Option two does conflict with the charter, and I will have an explanation slide. The next slide explains how the statute gives the authority of the city to pass a resolution that does conflict with the charter. Option two does result in all council being up for election at the same time, eliminating staggered terms unless a future charter amendment provided for staggered terms in odd number years. That could be done in a future election, a future charter amendment. So option 3 is basically the same as option 2, but would be effective at a later date, such as 2027, 2029, or some future odd number year. Option 3 also conflicts with the charter and would result in all council being up for election at the same time unless future charter amendments were adopted. And then option 4 does not change the date of general election, and that you could choose not to take any action at all or to disapprove this item. So as promised, this slide gives this election code 42.0052C. It states that Home Rule City can provide for the election of all members of the governing body at the same election through adoption of a resolution, and that resolution supersedes a city charter provision that requires a different general election or that requires terms to be staggered. So this statute also provides the governing body changing an election date under this section shall adjust the terms of office to conform to the new election date. So this is the provision that allows you to adopt a resolution that would conflict with the charter. Normally, if this did not exist, if this section did not exist, then normally you would have to have a charter election before eliminating staggered terms, because that's in your charter. All right, so as I stated before, option 2 and 3 eliminate even year elections and staggered terms. This statute allows you to do that. If council chooses this option, I recommend either option 2 or 3. I recommend that a charter review and possible charter election in the future so that the charter could conform to the any resolution that's passed. And just a reminder that the statute was written for and was being used primarily by cities with only odd-numbered elections, and so they wouldn't have to change their charter to align with this, but the City of Killeen charter would have different provisions. All right, so the recommendation here is that we recommend council provide direction on how to proceed prior to December 31st, 2025. I did want to address a couple of the comments real quick that you could do nothing and then have a charter election to change to a November date at a later time. At this time, that is not possible. The deadline of December 31st, 2025 is the deadline you would have currently to be able to make this change from May to November, unless the legislature came back at a later time and then extended this option further.
Yes, ma'am. And one more thing, since you were talking, I know you was talking to Mr. Cagle when I was sitting here earlier. How does this affect KISD and CTC? That was one of the things I wanted you to address.
Mm-hmm. Traditionally, KISD and CTC have held joint elections with the City of Killeen, and under this statute, I know that the school district does have the ability to change its date as well, and they aren't, I don't believe they're limited to the December 31st, 2025 date. As I'm sitting here right now, I cannot affirmatively state how that would affect CTC.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And also, for the record, when you discussed Mr. Sluter, this does not have anything to do with him for us getting it late. I read it, I heard it. When we changed our priorities in 2024, it just so happened that's something he was not tracking for the council because we didn't ask him to track that. And that's all fairness to him, that the council changed the priorities and took it out in 2024. And because this is not, and thank you for the presentation, this is not working. I'm gonna start with Councilmember Kendrick, then move to Councilmember Alvarez, and just go down so everybody have a time. Councilmember Kendrick, do you have anything to say, questions, anything?
I don't really have a whole bunch of questions, but I would like to make a motion.
Well, you have to make it. I can't make it. I'm not, yes, sir. You
Okay.
want to make the motion?
All right, I want to make a motion that we move to change the date of all general elections for the mayor and all councilmen, a November uniform election date in odd years, eliminating elections in even number years.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second? Councilwoman Cobb, you have to raise your hand. Second. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot. This is not on. So, okay. So there's a motion by Councilmember Kendrick to change the date of all general election for mayors and all council members to a November uniform election date in odd number years, eliminating elections in even number years. It was seconded by Councilwoman Cobb, and as I stated earlier, this is not working, so please don't click it. We're gonna start with Councilmember Alvarez, then Councilmember Solomon, then Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Sagara, and then Councilwoman Gonzalez. Sir, do you have anything to say, or?
Yes, do we have an opportunity for discussion?
Yes, sir, this is the discussion.
Okay, apologies. I guess the question is for our
And you have
city.
3 minutes.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
For our city attorney, Mrs. Clements, it seems that some of the feedback that we got, the part of the rub with, if we go with making this change, is the holdover for council members and the mayor. My question is, I guess, if we went with an option where you are delaying this till 2027, 2029, another odd number year, would there still not be a holdover at that time for some other council member?
So if you took an option, like option 3, where you would vote to change all elections to November in 2027 or 2029, what that would mean is you would eliminate elections in even number years after that period of time. So if your vote was to make it effective 2027, then the 2026 election would still occur, but then and that would actually shorten the term of the 20 people elected in 2026, because in 2027, you'd be electing everyone. Or fast forward 2 more years if that happened in 29. So no changes would happen to election dates in 2026, 27, and 2028 if they weren't going to be effective until 2029. The change, what could happen if you delayed it, is that you could have a charter election between now and then. And then determine, you can have temporary changes to the terms of your election to conform it to this action, any action that took tonight, or in a charter review and charter election, you could look at longer terms, something like that, to be able to stagger terms in the future. So the delay would allow you to have a charter election and to conform the terms.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Councilwoman Cobb, would you like to speak? Okay. Councilmember Solomon, would you like to speak? Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Ms. Holly, you mentioned about Dallas. This was designed for Dallas.
Yes, sir.
Am I correct that Dallas had a charter review prior to installing this, taking the option of going to November?
Yes, they made charter revisions prior to this and then asked the legislature to adopt this legislation. And so the legislation, as in the bill analysis, you can see, was very much written for City of Dallas's situation where they already had odd number of years. However, other cities can take advantage of it. It's just, it creates a little bit more of a logistical, how do we do this since we have even number years?
Right, so the charter review was first, and we're actually doing this, we're making a uniform, or we're making options prior to the charter review, which is much easier to do a charter review, in my
Right.
understanding.
We're responding to the legislation that was passed,
Right.
and it was passed for Dallas, but we're responding to that legislation. It was passed for Dallas, but certainly applicable to other cities as well, as you've seen and already been discussed tonight, that San Antonio also passed this legislation. Of course, they have only odd number year elections as well, so they don't have our issue with removing staggered terms either.
Okay.
But yes, I think a charter review and a charter election, I would recommend doing that if you do this. But the problem is, if you took no action tonight, you could still do a charter review and charter election next year, but you won't be able to adopt a change from May to November unless the legislature comes back in future years and extends this deadline.
And
They
so-
didn't, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, thank you. So for option 3, if we go with option 3, it would provide some time for that charter review, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the option 3 would allow you to adopt a resolution, and then it would set the November, the date to change from May to November. Odd number years only would happen at some point in the future, whether that be 2027 or 2029. And between now and then, you could have a charter election where you could, we could look into what the ballot language, what ballot language to provide and what the language to give to the electors to determine what they want to do with that, whether they want to
One other
extend
question.
terms.
If we do nothing tonight, if we go with option 4,
Yes.
would we be able to come back later on and have a charter review and make an adjustment, or we could never do this again? I know the bill allows us to do it, we have until the 31st, but will it come back around at any time again?
It is uncertain. So this type of bill has come back several times in the past. It was originally I know it was 2012, and then in 2015, the legislature gave cities an opportunity for a year and a half to adopt something by the end of 2016, and now this year has given us a matter of months to adopt something. So it could come back around in a future legislative session, or it could not. I don't think there's any way of
Or
telling
we
whether it will or
could submit to Congress, like Dallas did. They didn't have a deadline. Dallas submitted to Congress. Is that correct?
It would come through their representatives who would file a bill that we wanted. So you could do that through lobbying efforts.
Right. And that's exactly what Dallas did. They filed a bill. They did not have an option like we have now, options.
They asked a representative to file a bill,
Yeah.
and that's what happened, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
Madam Mayor, my first thing before my time is procedural. Can you restate the motion?
Number 2 on that.
Exactly
She
as,
gave all of us the same
right.
thing.
I was wondering, is that what Councilman?
Councilmember Kendrick, is option 2 what you saying verbatim?
Yes.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, thank you. Now, I move to amend to that motion to conduct the spring election, May 26th, and proceed with the remainder elections going forward in 2027, November 2027.
Will you repeat that, please?
I move to amend the motion to replace any language with
Just like the one, what you said, amend, conduct
amend and
a
conduct
spring election. That's
conduct the
all I
spring
got.
election, May 2026, and move all elections afterwards in November, beginning November 2027.
So that should be an option. Is that not option number 3? Okay, option 3 then, that's easier for me. So the motion, what was option 2, and the amendment is to option 3. And we have-
Specific is,
Sir, sir, are you finished with the motion? Because you cannot discuss it till you get a second.
right. Go
Are
ahead.
you finished with your
Yeah, I just want to
amendment?
make sure the specific language is
I'm
in there.
going exactly with 3.
I didn't say exactly 3. I said specifically conduct the May 2026 election with all future elections.
Is that not number 3, Madam City Attorney?
I mean, that's the intent of option 3, is that if all general elections were moved to November uniform election date and odd number years beginning in 2027, then that would eliminate elections in even number years thereafter, and that means that 2026 would still be conducted. So that is option 3.
Okay.
I believe, I want to confirm as well that that's what you're saying
I am.
that you want to do.
Okay, and we got a second by Councilmember Sagara. All right, thank you both. Councilwoman, Mayor Pro Tem, are you?
I am.
Okay. Councilmember Sagara, you have 3 minutes, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. And first off, I just want to sincerely thank all the people that spoke here tonight. I counted 16 speakers here tonight. amazing. So when somebody says, hey, this is short notice, we don't get a lot of speakers that come to us, our city council. And what that shows, that level of engagement really matters. It just speaks out to how much the residents really care about local democracy and the integrity of our elections. So thank you guys for all doing that and speaking. In hearing everybody speak, I think the council, with the motions made, is hearing you, because it sounds like everybody that spoke is in favor of doing a November election. What you don't want is the May election to be canceled and members like myself here, our terms extended for 18 months, which is fair. I think that's transparent. I don't think some of us may not want that to happen either. So believe me. But I think that I'm in favor of the amendment. I think that the motion on the table, I know it's option 3, but the motion is in line with option 2 with the amendment. So we do got to follow the motion. And then if we amend it, basically it turns it to option 3, which is good. So either way, I think that the council is listening. And the attorney, I think that you said something interesting, and I'm in favor of that, because if we do have our elections in May, I'm in favor of us, if whoever runs in May, getting a shorter term. Instead of extending it 18 months, what would happen is that those that get elected in May, you would have to run again next year in November. And I think that from the perspective of residents, I think you guys would be okay with that versus us serving 18 extra months. So I think we're in line with and hearing what you want. And like I say, I'm in favor of that, in favor of the amendment and then the motion. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. And the last but not least, Councilwoman Gonzalez.
Thank you. Thank you guys for coming out and speaking today. This is a very important conversation and something that I know personally I take very seriously and wholeheartedly and have done, I would say, definitely my due diligence to explore every single option. There were some conversations, though, about our responsibility to the taxpayer, so I won't belabor the points that have been made here. They are completely valid. But something I did want to touch on was that the idea of standardized election dates is not new. So for our voters out there in constituencies to stay in the loop and to be educated, just know that this has been going on in a conversation that has been ongoing since the early 1900s. Started with Oregon in 1910. I wanted to make that point. So this is a very important conversation, but I think it is important for our voters to have a streamlined date, right? For consistency's sake, I think that's extremely important. While we are not certain what's going to happen here in the city of Killeen, our hope is that it follows the trends that are happening nationwide. Nationwide, what they're finding is that there's been an increase overall of anywhere from 5 to 25% on average for these odd year elections. Again, these are not presidential elections, but these are odd year elections. So I think that we have to conclude that even in Killeen, if we had a 5% increase, that would be huge for us as a whole, as a community, and hopefully would only improve as time went on. Now, after talking to my constituents and then several people across the community, I just want to be completely transparent that there were several conversations about the extensions of the terms versus non-extensions of the terms versus holding the elections or not holding the elections. The staggering of the terms was also a concern. I just want to confirm something with the city attorney on the record for my constituents and for those people that still have some lingering questions, if you don't mind, please. So where the extensions occur, whether we decide to go with the one-time extension for the 18 months, according to the Senate Bill 1494 that has strong support of the 89th legislation, it is an alignment with the new cycle, but I want to make sure that it is temporary and that it was authorized under state law if they decide to go with that decision to extend terms. Is that a true statement?
So the decision, you're talking about option 2, the
Option
original
2.
motion without being
Correct.
amended, would mean that the terms would be extended due to constitutional holdover provisions, and that is specifically outlined in the statute that this bill revised. So yes, it would be in line with statute and constitutional provisions.
Okay. And if we decided to go with the option as the amended recommendation, the amended recommendation, just to confirm that we would still have May elections would be held, and then that moving forward, how would we address, or what would be the procedure after this vote? We understand that we can't really have that conversation today, but what would be the process for the future to address the staggering of the elections and some of the additional concerns that our constituents have? What would be the recommended process should they decide to go with option 2 amended to 3?
So if the motion if it gets amended, and that is like option 3, where we would go ahead and have the May 2026 election, so that 26 election would continue to be in May for mayor and at-large council members. And then it would, in 2027, you would begin having November elections rather than May. So those would be, starting in 2027, you'd have those in November. And so the process forward would be that if those that were elected in May 2026 would then have to, all positions would be up in November 2027. So it would shorten that term that was elected for 2026 by the 6 months. And I believe that is under the Constitution and the statute that would be allowed. Your charter, what my recommended process forward would be to have a charter review and have a charter election in the future to align your charter with this resolution. And I would recommend that happen between now and then, so that happens before the 2027 elections.
That was my next question. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you. I only have one question. What happens if the charter election, it fails? Where will we be? Because we can't predict the future. So I'm just putting it out there. I understand, that's good. But if it fails, then where do that leave the council? Because after December 31st, we can't go back. So what would happen if it fails?
If a charter election fails, then one, the statute says the resolution supersedes the charter. And so the charter would remain the same, but the resolution could remain intact and it would supersede the charter. At that point also, having had an election and you've got the will of the voters saying, we don't want this, we want to do something different, the city council could repeal any resolution that it adopts tonight. And nothing, if that's done prior to the elections in 2027, then there would have been you would be repealing it before it actually went into effect.
Yes, ma'am. All right, with that being said, yes, sir.
Can I ask, I just want to clarify one thing here, because we talked about if we do this and we have an election in May, and so those that are elected in May would run again next November. But next year, we have districts, because we have the districts and we have at large. So this year, we're not having any district races. And so supposedly, next year, in May is when we're supposed to have our district races. So by doing this, what we're saying is we're not going to have a May election for districts in 2027. So those would get extended, not 18 months, but you're looking at, what is that? 6-month extension for those. So next year, the district race, those council members that are in district would just get extended an extra 6 months. And from that point on, we're good. So instead of doing the 18-month extension today, I just want to make sure everybody's clear. Those at large would have to run at 18 months, and then those in a district get a
6-month holdover. We're saying extension, but it's a constitutional holdover provisions.
So I just want to make sure we're clear on that. That's how that works.
Yes.
And then just one quick follow-up on your Dallas. Do you know if Dallas, are they at large or do they have districts?
I believe that they have
districts.
Single-member districts.
So they do districts all, or do they do the elections?
I believe they're all districts.
They're all districts.
I believe they're all single-member districts, but I'm not putting my hand up on that.
So I think that in the future, we're talking about our charter, those are things we're going to have to look at. Do we want all districts? Do we want at large? And that's, again, a future discussion. But otherwise, as citizens, when you go out and vote and you live in a district and we put both districts and at-large at the same ballot, you're going to have to choose. I got to vote for a district member, and I got to vote for a council, and sometimes that can be a little bit confusing. So those are things for later discussion, but, I mean, those are the things that we're going to have to bring up here in the future. So, thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. So, Madam City Attorney, so I'm going to get this right. So I'm going to do my motion first, the original motion, and then we'll vote. I do the amendment first.
Amendment.
And then we'll vote on the original motion second.
Yeah, the first vote will be on the amendment, and then the second vote will be on the motion as amended if the vote to amend is approved.
If it passed, okay. So, council, what's happening now is we have option 2 was the original motion, and the council member, Mayor Pro Tem, made an amendment to that motion. So what would happen, you'll vote on the amendment first, and whether it pass or not. If it passes, then I say option 2 with the amendment. If it does not pass, then I just say we're voting on option 2 only. So the first one is only for option 3 with the amendment, which is the amendment. I know, because we went through this before. So if I would say, and this is not a motion at all, Madam Chair. So if I would say, all in favor, and I'm going to read it just like 3, to change the date of all general elections for mayor and all council members to a November uniform election date and odd number years beginning in 2027, eliminating elections in the even number years thereafter. That's the only thing you vote on. Whether it passed with the amendment of option 2. So that's what I don't want to throw them off on.
I believe that the amendment has that effect. However, I know that Councilmember Adams, the language of his motion was different.
Okay, let's rewrite it. I got it. Madam City Attorney, what do you have on record? His amendment. She wrote it down.
Well, I tried to write it down.
so you don't
But
even
I
have
believe that the motion to amend was to include everything in option 2, to change the date of all general elections for mayor and council members to November uniform election date and odd number years, eliminating election in even number years, except that, and here's would be the amendment, that we would conduct a spring 2026 election and move all the general elections to November beginning 2027.
And you
Is that
say
a correct restatement of your
conduct
amendment?
spring what, Madam City Attorney?
So option 2, with the exception that we're going to conduct a spring election, May election in 2026, moving all general elections begin into November, beginning in 2027.
Okay.
Is that,
So
yes.
basically, the first thing that you voting on is with the amendment. If it pass or don't pass. If it don't pass, then the second vote will only be for option 2. Is that correct, Madam Secretary? I mean, Madam City Attorney.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Okay. So the first vote will be option 2 with the amendment of Councilmember Adams.
Yeah, you're voting on the amendment. Do you want to amend the original motion to include the exception of having a spring election in 2026 and then changing the elections beginning 2027? Do you want that amendment or not? If you don't want the amendment, vote no. If you want to amend it to include that language so that we would have a May 2026 election, you can vote yes for that amendment. And then if that motion is approved, we'll go back and vote on the motion as now amended that includes all of that language.
Yes, ma'am. So with that being said, now we can take the vote, Madam City Attorney?
Yes.
Thank you so much. All in favor, yes, with the amendment. All opposed, no. You are voting for to amend option 2 or not, Councilmember Kendrick?
I'm voting I listened to the amendment, so I'm voting with the amendment.
You wanted to have an amendment? Option 2 with the amendment. Is that what you're saying, yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
Madam Mayor.
Okay, well, when they go off, I can see. I know. All in favor, yes. All opposed, no. So this is for to move the with the amendment, option 2 with an amendment. And the amendment would be option 3. So all in favor, yes. All opposed, no. Okay. Everyone should have clicked. Yes, ma'am. This is not it. This is
Okay,
no, ma'am.
this is not it. It's no option.
This one right here has an amendment to it.
Okay.
Councilmember Kendrick didn't.
Yeah, you're voting whether or not to actually amend the motion. Mhm.
Motion passes with the amendment with only Councilwoman Cobb being in a disagreement. All right, with that being said, I don't have to vote because we have to vote with everything now, again,
Yes, so that amended the original motion, so now you vote
with the amendment.
motion as amended.
Okay, all in favor of the motion that was amended, yes. All opposed, no. You getting ready to vote again? You have to click. Councilmember Solomon, Councilmember Cobb, Councilmember Alvarez, you already clicked. This is another, yeah, with the amendment. Yes, sir. Everybody okay? Kendrick, Councilman Kendrick, that's a yes? 7-0, all in favor. Now, first of all, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. Thank you all for coming out and participating in the process today. Please be safe, check on your neighbors. Can I get a motion to adjourn? Councilmember Solomon said so moved. Councilwoman Gonzalez, did you second it?
Second, Madam.
Okay, all in favor, yes. All opposed, no. All right, meeting adjourned.
Only an hour and a half.